The lineups have been announced for Fiji versus Australia, an extremely important game for both of these sides. More so for Fiji, if they can walk away with the victory here, we'll leave Pool C wide open, but going with a relatively similar side to what we did see in that game up against Wales when they did have themselves the narrow loss. Same can be said about Australia though, although they did walk away with the victory over Georgia, only making the 3 changes in their starting lineup. But we will start with the Fijians. It is Aroni Maui at number 1, Sam Matavesi at 2, and number 3, Luke Tangi. So I actually thought that they may make a few changes in the front row just to rotate through their side, have everyone fresh as this competition wears on. This game is do or die for the Fijians, so they've gone with what worked in the game up against Wales. They'll be hoping to get some early scrum dominance here in the lock and Joe. Unchanged from last week, Asoana Silasila at number 4 and number 5, Te Ihawaru Thrikadavita in the loose forward trio. There is a slight reshuffle. Number 6, Lakema Tangivalu, one of the many Fijian players to get himself over the try line in that last game up against the Welsh. Number 7, Emmanuel had an impact off the bench, so he now moves into the starting side. It is Lavani Botia. And then at number 8, once again, the physical Viliami Mata, having a lot of running meters throughout that last game. We'll be looking to do exactly that in this game up against the Wallabies. In the 9-10 combination, a change from last week. They have gone with Simeone Kuruvuli in the starting side. And number 10, they have stuck with Tite Tela. I have to say Lamani in the last game didn't have as much of an impact as a lot of people would have liked to see. Kuruvuli off the bench though looks strong, and for me was the right choice to put in the starting side. Then out on the left wing, they have gone with Semi Radradra, that is rather than Vinaya Habosi, who is out there for the last game. In the centres, it is Joshua Tuisova and number 12 with Waisia Nayatalevu on the outside at 13. He will also be the captain for this game, so moving Radradra from the centres to the wing, allowing space for Tuisova to make his way in, and that is a powerful backline. And that's not even the end of it. Number 14, Jita Wainanyolo, an absolutely phenomenal player. He's got a great step on him. He's got a huge amount of pace, going head-to-head with none other than Marika Korombedi for this contest. And then at number 15, to close out the starting side for the Fijians, it is Eliza Druasisi looking through at the bench. This is where it is also relatively similar to what we did see last week. Number 16, Tavita Ikanaveri. Number 17, Penny Ravai. And number 18, Masaki Donge. Number 19, Timo Mayana Vanua. And number 20, Albert Tuisui, the man who did start at 6 last week. But with Lavani Botia moving into the starting lineup, it did mean that he loses his spot. Number 21, Frank Lamani. Number 22, Villamoni Potitu, the player who was added into the team in replacement of Caleb Muntz, who unfortunately did suffer that injury in training before the first game up against Wales, and sadly is missing the rest of the Rugby World Cup. And then at number 23, to close out this flying Fijian team, it is Vinaya Habosi. Now they've got a few options with where to play him. More than likely though, he'll go out onto the left wing. Maybe we see Radradra into the centres. Tuisova could drop out to the right wing if needed. So they've got plenty of options here for Fiji, but overall, a very strong side looking through at the Wallabies. Like I mentioned, they managed to get themselves the win last week up against Georgia, 35 points to 15, and that was the first win that Eddie Jones has been able to secure, so he will want nothing less than a winning streak now for the Aussies. And looking through at their side, they could certainly score a lot of points here. In the front row, it is Angus Bell at number 1, number 2, Dave Parecki, and number 3, James Slipper. So that is probably the biggest surprise for the Australian lineup, the fact that they've got Slipper playing at 3 rather than his usual loose head prop position, but that is due to the injury of Taniela Tupou. Unfortunately, earlier on in the year, we also saw the injury of Alan Alarato, which does mean at tight head prop, the Aussies are a little bit light in terms of stocks at the moment. So James Slipper is the man who steps up for that position. But Angus Bell in the last game, he was very good up against Georgia, bringing that physicality. But scrums will be intriguing for this game with that change of Slipper at 3. In the locking duo, it is Nick Frost at number 4 and number 5, the captain. It is Will Skelton. And when you talk about physicality and size, there's not many bigger than Will Skelton, but it's whether or not he uses that size to his advantage to match up nicely with the Fijians. In the loose forward trio, Tom Hooper is at number 6. Number 7, it is Fraser McWright. And then number 8, it will be Rob Valentini. So going head-to-head with Viliami Mata. We know there's going to be some big hits coming in. Mata's huge shot that he put on to Nick Tompkins in their Welsh game is one that comes to mind. But when he goes head-to-head with someone like Rob Valentini, who is the same size, has the same strength. It is going to be like chucking a fridge at another fridge, and that is very dangerous to do. Disclaimer, do not do that unless you know what you're doing in terms of chucking fridges at each other. Is that a job? In the back line for the Australians, it will be Nick White starting at number 9. That is due to the injury that we did see of Tate McDermott last week. Did take a head knock, so is unavailable for this game. Number 10, Carter Gordon, the youngster. This is going to be interesting to see how he goes when the Fijians do pressure him, and that is somewhere that Fiji may be able to get that little bit of an advantage. Although saying that, Gordon and Tite Tella, neither of them have been in that side for too long. Tite Tella's kicking a little bit shaky at the moment, so I'm very curious to see who does get the better of that head-to-head. Number 11, like I mentioned earlier on, it is Marika Korombete. Huge amount of power for that man out on the wing. Samu Karevi at number 12 with Jordan Pataia at number 13. Out on the right wing, it is Mark Nwanganitawasi going head-to-head with Semi Radradra for this game. And then number 15 to close out the starting lineup for the Australians, a man who got himself 2 tries in the last game up against Georgia. It is Ben Donaldson looking through at the bench. Number 16, Jordan Ulesi. Number 17, Blake Scoop. And number 18, it is Zane Ngor. It's a little bit surprising that they didn't start Ngor at number 3 and have James Slipper come off the bench, but I believe that is due to the scrummaging that James Slipper does offer, and also that experience factor that he has got as well. Number 19, Richie Arnold. Number 20, Rob Leota. Then the back replacements, Isaac finds Leliawasa at 21, the replacement halfback. Number 22, Lalakai Foketi. And number 23 to close out the Aussie side, it will be Soliasi Vunivalu. But this game, it's going to be an absolutely epic one when these two sides go head-to-head. It is a 3:45 a.m. kickoff on Monday morning here in New Zealand, but we will be doing the live commentary all throughout the game. So if you are new to the channel, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Let me know what you think of these starting lineups and reserves in the comments down below. We will also have a preview of this match a little bit closer to kickoff. Thank you all very much for tuning in, and I will see you all for the next one.